Hi, this is Trevor Conquergood. Welcome to this week's RNK Software Club's video for the week. And the topic for this week is about the Save to Sew tool and how really amazing that can be for a new embroiderer because it'll help you to get the best results out of your embroidery designs, and it'll tell you which stabilizers you need to use and how to hoop your project. And so we're sure you're going to love this one. And to get started talking about Save to Sew, I'm actually going to show a few photographs of my wonderful friend Walter Floriani Jr. You guys, this is the person who partnered with Ricky and Kay to start the Floriani division of R&K. And he's just such an inspirational person in the embroidery world. He's the very first person I ever met that was teaching what he knew about embroidery, and he knew so much about embroidery. His family had done embroidery for 5 generations, you guys. And Walter was the young guy in the family that really wanted to share and teach. And Walter wanted to teach everybody how fun it was. That was one of his favorite messages. Anyway, this is me and Darcy from up here in Saskatoon, and we met Walter for the first time 1989 at the Calgary Imprinted Sportswear Show. Me and my dad were there, and we met Walter Jr. and Walter Sr. at that event. And I followed Walter, as a mentor. I joined his fun club. I learned from Walter over the years, and every time I saw him, I tracked him down and got my picture with him because that's something I like to do. Anyway, these are my Walter pictures, you guys, and we're so fortunate to have captured all of Walter's knowledge and basically bottled them up and put them in the software. This is actually Walter, now that he'd partnered with Ricky and Kay to start the Floriani. This is the day that Walter told me all about how he had this amazing new software and beautiful thread and stabilizers. And this is when I first joined with R&K, and I met Walter there in Knoxville. And I'm certainly happy to say that I know and met Walter. I'm sad to say that Walter passed away in the year 2020, but he left such a wonderful legacy, and Save to Sew is such a huge part of that. So let's get into the software and talk about the tool up here. It's called Save to Sew. Currently, it's kind of dimly lit. Well, that's because you need to open an embroidery design first, and so you can go browsing through your beautiful collection of embroidery designs, and these are all the ones that you get from R&K in the free monthly designs, right? So when you select on a month like this, then you hover over designs to see the designs that are in there. And if you choose an embroidery design, what you need to know is when we prepare these designs, we don't know what you're going to sew them on. And so we will use kind of generic catch-all settings for things like density and underlay. And if you zoom in, you can see the style of underlay stitches that were selected. Well, the whole point is when you know what you're sewing it on, it's possible to fine-tune the embroidery design to make it even better for that fabric. And if I select my embroidery design, in fact, you don't even have to select it. You just have to notice that now that the design is opened up, I can click on the tool for Save to Sew. And when I click on it, the question is, what are you sewing it on? And there's a list of fabrics. Well, these are the Floriani recipes. Because the Floriani's kept track. When we digitize embroidery designs for t-shirts, we do this. When we do denim, we do that. And if you scroll down and find denim, you'll see the question or the option. Denim I digitized and denim I didn't digitize. Well, it doesn't mean you digitized it as much as how much do you want the software to work on the design? Because if you say I didn't, it won't do as much. It'll assume that it was a store-bought design and that it doesn't necessarily need to make as many changes. But if you say I digitized, that kind of is like saying this is a true Floriani file and I got it from the R&K Software Club, but somebody digitized it. I guess the point is you want to get the full effect of the software, then you choose I did. And now, if you want the software to be able to make any changes at all, you need to allow it. Because if I just click next right now, I'll go straight to the recipes, but it won't touch the design. I have to check this checkbox to allow the program to make changes to the density or to the underlay stitching or the pull compensation or any other settings such as stitch angles. So the point here is you might not even know about these things, but the program does. And once you tell it what you're sewing on, now the program can analyze the design and possibly make changes. And so if I say next, the software goes to work on the design. And in the meantime, it shows you the Floriani stabilizer recipe for embroidering on denim. And so for this design, it recommends stitch and wash fusible, fuse the item to the denim, and then hoop it. And use some heat and gone topping on top. And in special instructions, things like don't forget to use a number 11 chrome needle. If you prefer, you can use water-soluble topping, etc., etc. These are all, sort of a recipe of how to get great success in embroidering on denim. And if you're like, I don't know about this product, click right here to find out information about it. Or click right here to watch a video about how to use it. So Save to Sew is a very popular tool. You can choose print to print this information, but the cool thing is this information all gets added to the design. So if I click finish right now, it will ask me if I want to save the design. You don't have to. You can say cancel. But it is an opportunity to save it because the software did make changes. And you could have more than one copy of that design. You could have, this is the design for fleece, and then another one, this is the design for denim, and they could be very different. This is the one we made for denim. And notice now in the notes area here where it tells us step 1, step 2, step 3. And if you were to do a printed template for this design right now, notice that all of that sort of, stabilizer recipe has been recorded and added to the design notes. So that's one of the really cool things about Save to Sew is it'll help you with how to stabilize and how to hoop. And then the design, notice when you look really closely here how the design stitching changed. Like let me hit undo. So you can see originally there was a parallel underlay, but when we told it denim, it went to an outline contour style underlay. And that's the real magic of the Save to Sew tool is you don't have to know all of these things. The software does. And if you just choose to run it again and you scroll down and you change to a different kind of fabric, such as fleece, and turn on new style settings, then you can say next. Now, before I go by it, this option here, convert to outlines, that would be like if you opened up a purchase design that you didn't make and is not a true kind of Floriani file, then you might need to allow the software to convert those stitches into outlines, while it's doing it. This is also something you could do independently or prior to running, the Save to Sew tool, converting to outlines. I won't talk more about that today, but just know there are other great videos to learn more about, the process of convert to outlines. And I'll plan some more because I know it's a popular topic. So let's go ahead and click next. And now the design goes to work for fleece. And notice the recipe changed. Now it says to hoop perfect stick tearaway and stick the item down. Well, that's because fleece is quite thick and it's really hard to hoop it. And oftentimes you damage the fleece if you force it in the hoop. And the worry is that if you make your hoop too loose, could pop while you're embroidering. And so the recommendation is a hoopless technique. So you'll love Save to Sew and the information that it can provide to you and the improvements that it can make to your designs. And notice now that I told it fleece, how it's really changed. It has the contour underlay and it has a double layer of that parallel, which is also known as a zigzag underlay. And so it's kind of like maximum underlay on the fleece and different underlay on the denim. And so we hope you enjoyed this week's RNK Software Club's video of the week. And until next week, have a wonderful day, enjoy your Save to Sew, and bye for now.